Hello everybody, Dr. Fatma Zahra Salim is you, a professor in the Faculty of Education at Ain Shams University in the Foundations of Education department, and I will teach you the course of Foundations of STEM Education for Teachers. Let's get started. At the beginning, we need to break the ice or putting our golden rule. So our golden rule here in our course is smiling. All the time we need to smile, to be optimistic person and to take a second step in our life. Please keep in your smile because you deserve to be optimistic person all the time. Let's begin with the agenda of our course. By the way, we need to know the nature of the STEM education or STEM by putting specific foundations or fundamentals for STEM education. Let's see the topics and the key topics of our course. The first topic is related to the historical origins and development of STEM education and the institutional of STEM high school. The second topic or the second key topic, the conceptual and the philosophical fundamentals of STEM education. The best practices in STEM high schools. The fourth topic, societal factors and STEM high schools. The fifth topic, Egypt grounded challenges and STEM education. And the last topic is evaluation and reflection. So this is our agenda related to the foundations of STEM education for teachers. Let's begin with the early beginning of the STEM education. Actually, the STEM knowledge has evolved since the 18th century in line with the expansion and diversification and specialization of science into the fields of physics, biology, chemistry, applied science, mathematics. Over the last 2 decades, some fields have integrated and combined to each other or fused within higher education to create a new system or a new discipline. For example, that of biology and chemistry giving rise to biochemistry. So we need sustainability and the world requires a cross-disciplinary approach. So sustainable development is our target here in STEM education and create harmonized society or community. It is now increasingly recognized that educational policy, educational programs and curriculum need to be futuristic and see the near and far future in the sense of preparing future workers, leaders, and citizens to work innovatively and flexibility to respond to the challenges they will face throughout their lives at a local and global level. There is always a need to look ahead for the forthcoming future and to have your own perspective and outlook to try to predict and forecast what may be needed in the future to meet the visions of each community and country. So remember that the future begins now. Okay, let's go through the story of the STEM education and the real starting of the program of STEM education in the United States of America by the Arizona or the state of Arizona and the federal government established this program and this initiative, educational initiative, to support the integration among sciences, among science, engineering, mathematics, and technology, and STEM education. And they got a fund from the government to establish this program, and also the Obama's Act of No Child Left Behind. This very important, and this support the initiative of STEM education and program, and overcome the non competitiveness of the United States in the academic endeavors. Also in 2005, many reports about from the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine states that United States proficiency and able to teach and learn students STEM programs, and this is very important for the society and for all over the world can implement this valuable program inside societies. Also in 2014, the technology and the impact of technology on students and on communities. So they evaluate the experiment of STEM education and how they select specific students and conduct a probe to gauge their understanding of using technology and the impact of the technology, the articulations and designs through technology of their projects of science, engineering, medicine, mathematics. So the designs and systems thinking of technology and the effects of technology on society and how to use technology to achieve your project. In 2015, another act, the Every Student Succeed Act, ESSA, is a United States law passed in December 2015 that governs the United States, and the students should learn from K to 12 the the STEM program, and this supports the No Child Left Behind. 2017, the Inspire Act of Trump, the President Trump, signs the Inspire Act requires NASA to encourage women and girls to learn and STEM education to serve the community and to serve themselves. Also, in Egypt, the real beginning from 2018 so far, the beginning of STEM teacher preparation in Faculty of Education in Egypt. So this is the whole story and the background of STEM origins or STEM education. So, the Federal Math Science Education Priority Framework, the federal in the United States of America, the federal government put this framework, and this framework divided into three parts. The first part is strategic objectives. The second part is implementation priorities, and the third part implementation components. And these are integrated parts, and the STEM education and the STEM program should cover all this framework or all these parts of the Federal Math Science Education Priority Framework. The strategic objective in this framework improves the science and mathematics performance, strong pre-college teacher workforce, adequate PIP pipeline for the science and technology workforce, including increased participation of the underrepresented groups, improve the public science literacy. The second part, the implementation priorities, general public science literacy, public community linked programs, the media dissemination program for decision makers, public information campaigns, pre-college teacher preparation and enhancement, curriculum reform, organizational and systematic reform, student support, incentives and opportunities, undergraduate curriculum reform, faculty preparation and enhancement, student support, incentives and opportunities, organizational reform, or change the conditions and traditional system inside schools. graduate student support incentives or concentrated and opportunities, more initiatives, more opportunities and the chances in front of the students. Implementation components depends on evaluation or and assessment, dissemination and technical assistance, educational technologies. All these parties should teachers know before teaching the teaching STEM program inside the classroom and inside the STEM schools. This is very important to know all these components and implementation priorities and to achieve the strategic objectives. So what's STEM stands for? By the way, STEM it's an abbreviation, the initial letter of specific keywords. The first thing of or the S stands for science, T stands for technology, E stands for engineering, and M stands for mathematics. And all these sciences together create STEM education and create the integration among sciences and new alternatives, new solutions to the problems or comprehensive understanding to the reality and to the issues and problems inside the society. So why STEM education? For building harmonized society. So we need to create harmony or the harmonized society. All countries need to identify specific STEM competences that or skills that their citizens should acquire not only to meet future labor market demands but also to ensure a sustainable and quality of life for all. So we need to build harmonized society or the harmony among sciences and inside the society, not only to cover or to meet the market label demands, but we need more to understanding our life and the quality of life at all. I'd like to work together to discover the core competences or skills of. So what's STEM competences? We can divide these STEM competences into two parts. The first part related to know what. Know what is something related to the topic or the issue under discussion or the problem that you discuss related to science, mathematics, engineering, or all these sciences together. So firstly, you should know very well the knowledge and the information related to this subject. Secondly, you should know the core values or the principles that put for achieve your goals and to put to the policies that you follow to achieve your goals and the attitudes towards this topic from the public, from the expert people, from the hands-on experienced people. Also from the scientists maybe, so know everything about your topic or your issue. Know how means ask about what, ask about the procedures or the steps that you should follow to achieve your target and to achieve your goals and solve your problem. Act effectively in context and apply skills and practice the practice morally or ethically and implement the values and the core values that you set or your institution set to achieve your goals. Also, the apply knowledge. You need to apply this knowledge inside your community, inside your reality, inside with your students, inside the nature, or inside the laboratories. So this is very important to apply the knowledge that you acquire. This is very important to know these two kinds of STEM competences, the know what and know how. So in order to understand very well the competences of STEM education, you should put your hand on the STEM big ideas. Firstly, the patterns. The second the cause and the effect. The third, scale, proportion, and the quantity. The fourth, systems and systems models. And the fifth, energy and matters. And the sixth one, structure and function. And the last one is stability and change. Let's see the matter in detail. Actually, the patterns related to the observed patterns of forms and events guide organization. So what's the events that guide the organization, and the most important forms related to this organization or this science, and the classification, and they prompt questions about relationship and the factors that influence them. So patterns means here you should put your hand on the forms, put your hand on the events, put your hand on the key classification and the categories of the science, and ask more questions to and what is the most important factors that affect upon these patterns. Then we move to the cause and effect. Cause and effect is something related to ask about the reasons and the levels of effectiveness or the level of impact. So mechanism and explanation, events have causes. So you ask here about the words and the reasons behind these patterns, these sciences, these topics, this phenomena. So sometimes simple, sometimes multi-faced, a major activity of science in investigation, more investigation and explanation about causal relationships and mechanisms by which they are mediated. Such mechanisms can then be tested across given contexts. You can test these causes and reasons through the context and through the environment that you live in or surrounding environments, and used to predict and explain events in new contexts. So the very important thing is to search for the reasons behind the phenomena or the reasons behind the events and the patterns. So here, and the effect and the impact of these reasons on your patterns and the events or the topics that you discuss. Scale, you should support these patterns or these causes with statistics or with proportions or percentage or scales. Scales means assessment or evaluation. So scale, proportions, and quantity or percentage, putting specific percentages. This is very important to support your ideas with quantitative reasons or evidence. In considering a phenomena, it is critical to recognize what is relevant at different measures of science, of size, time, and energy, and to recognize how changes in scale, proportion, or quantity affect systems structure of performance. And this is very important to express about your results in charts, in statistics, proportion, and establish your own framework or your big ideas using statistics and proportion and the quantitative analysis. Then systems and system models, defining the system under study. You should know the system of education, such as of the science and the biology, chemistry, mathematics. So defining the system under study, specifying its boundaries, limitations, and making explicit or clear a model of that system provides tools for understanding and testing ideas that are applicable throughout science and engineering. This is very important to know the rules, to know the systems of education, the system of STEM education and these programs, and to know very well the system and transfer this system into systems models and how to apply these system models inside the reality and inside the community and they make it applicable enough and throughout the science and engineering, and this very important procedure to know more about your subject, your topic, and your program. Also, the big ideas include the matter or the object that you discuss, such as the energy or the power, and you should know, for example, the flows, the cycles, the conservation, the fluxes of the energy to understand more the systems and how to transfer these systems into system models and to know more about the limitations and the possibilities. Also the structure and the function. So you should know the beginning of this matter or object or the ideas that you discuss in this science or the topics that you discuss in the science or a specific science, the structure or the starting point to this science and the function of each factor inside this science. So the way in which an object or object or living thing is shaped, the beginning of shaping or reshaping this idea or this science or the structure or the early beginning of the science or the object or the matter and its substructures, and very important to know the factors that behind this structure or the substructure determine many of its properties, characteristics, and functions or the job of the factors behind of this matter or this object. Also, the big ideas include stability and change. For natural and built systems alike, conditions of stability. So things or the factors that is stable and you take it for granted and you can't change it. So this is what we say stable factors of energy, of science, of biology, of chemistry, of energy. So you need to know the stability or the stable factors and determinates of rates of change. So what is the levels of rates means here the levels of change or evolution of a system are critical elements of study. So stability and the change, you should put your hand here when you study any science, any topic inside any science or the STEM program or this all the all sciences together, the mathematics, the science, the engineering and technology. If you need to know more about the sciences, you should know the structure of this science, the substructure of this science, and the stable factors or the stability of specific factors that you can put into your mind and into your consideration. This I will take these factors for granted and you can't change it, and the levels of or the rates of changes that you can make and create in this science to create something new or to solve specific problems. These are the big ideas inside STEM education, and this what the United Kingdom or the United Nations with this big ideas to understand more the philosophy behind the STEM education. So, as we said before, the STEM education established in the United States of America and or the USA, and these are the schools, the institutional of STEM high schools in some of them, it's not all of them, from the early beginning, from the 2001 so far, the institutional of STEM high schools, some schools in the And these examples for the institutional of STEM high schools and the STEM program inside the schools in some schools in Egypt here. So what's the philosophy behind STEM education? Actually, is a STEM education based on philosophy based on encouraging the students to innovate in science and mathematics, using technology in creativity and scientific innovation to create something new or to solve the problems inside your community. Understanding contemporary life skills and handling many competences and skills and utilize these skills inside your classroom with your students and outside the classroom. Create the active entrepreneurs and encourage your students to have his or her your students to have their own enterprises and their own projects or startups to benefit themselves and to serve the community, the local and global community too. Actually, this was the story behind the STEM education and the first lecture, including the Institutional High School of STEM Education in the United States of America and in Egypt. And we will continue the agenda of our course of STEM education, foundations of STEM education, soon, inshallah. Thank you so much for having me in this lecture. Please keep on our golden rule, which is smiling all the time. Smile because you deserve it to be an optimistic person. Thank you so much, Fatma Zahra Salem, a professor in the Faculty of Education at Ancient University in the Foundations of Education. Thank you. Bye bye.